Right now, we are going to get into the news. And this is once again another week where I would say, hey, light on news and a lot of plush toys, a lot of things like that. But we got a pretty juicy headline we wanted to talk about here and talk about some things around it, Joseph. And this is from IGN. Daisy Ridley on Rey's journey while promoting Chaos Walking, her new movie. She was speaking with Jim Vejvoda, Schmodown favorite, Jim Vejvoda. Who works at IGN, and Daisy Ridley talked about Rey, and of course, you know, that's newsworthy. I say that half tongue-in-cheek, half cynical, and about 2%. No, I get it. It's news. So here's the takes here. Here's the rundown. She called the end of Rey's journey this. She said, I think for me, the beauty of episode 9 is it ends with such hope and such potential. I just feel like that was Rey's perfect ending, the big battle. Was in episodes 7, 8, and 9, Ridley said, and I think she's probably running around the forest somewhere having a great time. Rise of Skywalker. This, of course, kind of about, hey, you know, what would you feel about more stories? And then she added, I feel totally satisfied. That's 2 totallys, people. Totally satisfied with how that story finished. I just don't know what else she could do that I didn't have to do. Also, there are so many amazing characters in Star Wars that it's sort of an amazing thing. I was watching the new episode of Mandalorian, and it's just like the places it can go beyond even where it is now is so exciting. End quote on that. So she also had some stuff on Baby Yoda we can touch upon if we want, but this is kind of, Joseph, this is good news for us. And this is part of what we're going to talk about here. But I just want to get your general thoughts on her thoughts on Rey and what she said in this article.
Yeah. I mean, I think I always want to do my best, especially when actors are talking, to try to see things from their point of view. You know, we're coming at it as Star Wars podcasters, you know, sharing our thoughts with people who love Star Wars. So we've got a real Star Wars all the time perspective. So like I always with these just even want to take a step back and remember this is an actor who is trying to promote another film.
Yes.
Trying to promote Chaos Walking that has been, you know, completed, I don't know, like 87 years ago and is finally coming out maybe in January. So she's out there promoting something else and lives in this era where she knows she's going to be asked about Star Wars with every other project she ever promotes. So I always start from that perspective that it's interesting to see how actors begin to talk about Star Wars. If it's a thank you, I know you have to ask, but I've said everything I have to say, or if it's just kind of an off-the-cuff joke, or if like this, she's willing to engage in a kind of substantive way, knowing that it's going to be headlines. And I think that's just interesting that she's willing to still engage in a sort of substantive way, talk not only about her character, but also like her opinions on The Mandalorian and that she's choosing to watch Mandalorian. So obviously, I love Rise of Skywalker. I love Rey's journey. I love those end beats. I've seen the film, you know, I think at least 10 times, if not more at this point. And I still get teary every time she says Rey Skywalker. I know it doesn't work for some other people, but it works incredibly well for me. So, of course, from my perspective, I'm happy that the actor is happy with it. That's always a nice thing. You got some great questions about that, so we're going to talk more about that. I also think my other reaction to this is, yeah, for me as a Star Wars fan, of course I would love it if Daisy Ridley was like, yes, I want to do a Rey Disney Plus show. I'm on the phone with Kathleen Kennedy every day. Let's do a hashtag. Let's make it happen. I would love that. But I also totally, fully respect that she is an actor. She's a human being. She just finished this massive journey and wants to do other things. She's at this, you know, point in her career where she's going to go off and do lots of other things, or maybe, you know, she'll have to work hard to get past every interview is Rey. Every interaction is, why aren't you playing Rey? So while I myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm so anxious for more Rey storytelling. I also just want to take a big, deep breath and just have patience. And we know from life experience that actors often with a nice big break from a character, with a nice big break from a franchise, and with more life experiences themselves, go, I would be really interested in revisiting that. And I'm more than happy to wait 10 years, 20 years until Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac want to revisit them on the screen for myself.
Yeah, there's something. I'm going back to my youth, but at the end of Return of the Jedi, I got to spend a lifetime wondering what happened next, and I'm so excited that I got to read and see and listen to what happened next in a canon way. But that came a lot later. I didn't think I'd ever hear that or see that in 2015, right? And if I'm being honest, part of the reason I wasn't as into the Legends as a lot of other people is it wasn't even that it wasn't my Luke or what I thought happened in the story. Is I just liked letting it go as well, and it just kind of living for me. As I don't know what happened next with Luke. I can change it every day as a fan, and daydream. And so I like for myself applying some of that to what Daisy's saying here and how she feels totally satisfied. And then there's just not much else she could have done. And yes, she could start school. And you and I have talked about, the Lego Holiday Special had some stuff, hints about what you could do with that character. And there's so much to do with it. I'm ready myself, I think, more than I even thought going into reading this article, that I'm like ready just to let it lie for a little bit. And like you said, when the time is right or the performer feels it's time, or they're ready to go back and visit it on a big scale, then I'd be excited about that, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not that I don't think there are stories to tell,
Oh,
but I also understand from an actor perspective of she's given this, very recently, years of thought and discussion with the writers and the directors and hard work, and that she's found like who is Rey, what challenges her, and the story of the sequel trilogy is she starts with all of these challenges and these fears, and she overcomes them. And
yeah,
that arc of Rey is complete. So I totally understand her perspective of like, I'm not really ready. I feel like, this character just triumphed.
right.
I don't feel the need right now to revisit, her running into a new challenge.
Yeah, it'll be fun to imagine, and that's kind of what I think she was saying there too. And I love her version, running around the forest somewhere, having a great time. Do you agree with that sentiment, sentiment, Joe?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's also like this is a podcast, right? This is where this is all coming from. So I haven't had a chance to listen to it. And from some of the stuff she says about Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, I think she's answering honestly, but also like trying to have a sense of fun.
Yeah.
And I sense that of like, yeah. I mean, I think in a way she's saying like, yeah, she found herself. She found her the way she wants to be a Jedi, and she found connection and family, and she's running around the forest enjoying that. And I think that's a nice thought too.
Absolutely. I want her to enjoy the victories and enjoy, some of my favorite little moments are her reaching out and feeling the rain on Octo, or, oh my gosh, Takadona's so green. I just want, at the Yaki Yaki Festival, Rey has those little moments of, I never got to experience this. So I hope she takes a paid vacation.
Yeah.
Enjoy the galaxy. Here's what I wanted to talk out of this. And you mentioned the Baby Yoda comments, the eating the eggs and everything. She kind of had some takes on that, but I don't want to say takes. I think you're right. It was just kind of like, yeah, I didn't mind her eating the eggs, and there you go, and end of the conversation there.
Yeah, and she specifically says, and the frog lady does get what she wants too, so.
Yeah, great point. But here's something I want to discuss, because there's some reactions to this article that were very, very, I would describe as positive, because there are folks like you and I who absolutely love Rise of Skywalker, who absolutely love Rey or the sequel trilogy. Even people who are like, maybe I don't love Rise of Skywalker, but I do love Rey, and I do love the story. We have a lot of varied opinions here within the ForceCenter listener ranks. So we might hear or read an article like this, Joseph, and feel like, aha, see, we're justified in what we feel about this. And I was when I started to read this, I was like, aha. Then I just kind of thought to myself, all the articles that were shoved in my face were the clips and supercuts of Mark Hamill hates Last Jedi or hates Luke. Most of them forgetting that he does say in many interviews, oh, then I came around to it, or then I understood. Even recently, some stuff with John Boyega. There's some bigger issues that you and I are in agreement, or understand where John's coming from, or understand that we don't fully understand where John's coming from, and we support him on that stuff. But there's also, we love that character, and there at times seems to be some thoughts that maybe he doesn't love Finn as much as we do, or wanted other things, which is totally fair. And I just went down this path, Joseph, that I wanted to discuss with you, of like how much do we need these performers to like the Star Wars roles and stories they're in?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, ultimately, it's a bonus, I think is the best way to say it. I feel like, I feel like if a story gets created, it is ultimately that thing that we, the audience, are having a relationship with. And I think for issues that are as simple as, did the actor ultimately like the role? Did the actor ultimately like the movie? It's great. It's great to hear, especially since there are some people who don't like the end of Rise of Skywalker. I've seen people even float the opinion that Daisy Ridley doesn't like it. So for me, it's a nice bonus when she comes out and says, actually, I did like it. I thought the end in particular was great. That's really nice. But my relationship is primarily with the film and what it means to me. So there is this difference between, I think, actors going, I like that movie, I didn't like that movie. And then you creep into the real world, and that's different. If an actor says, I was treated horribly on that film, so I can't watch it without remembering that I had a bad experience making it, then for me, maybe that does eat in. Or I think what John Boyega is bringing up is, he certainly has opinions about the films themselves, but his largest issue seemed to be, I feel that you advertised Finn for The Force Awakens as being a main hero, and then he was not as large of a hero. And I feel like that has repercussions when we're talking about representation of Black people. So that to me is so much bigger than, did the actor think this was an awesome Star Wars movie, thumbs up or thumbs down, right? So for me, there's that necessity to when I'm talking about actor opinions, to separate just the subjective good, bad, did I like the movie, versus is my criticism tied to a much larger, much more important social issue. But to answer your question the most directly, I'll just go to Alec Guinness, right? Obi-Wan is one of my favorite characters. I think Alec Guinness is brilliant. There's this interview I saw a couple of years back from back in the day that I think was 1977, right after it came out, where he is being very charming on a British talk show and talking about how he helped George with some of the lines, and how George offered him a little cut, and that was quite nice. And he said some very nice things about the film, about how it turned out being this great little story about good and evil. And it's a nice throwback to older stories. It's very simple. Go out and enjoy it. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of, and I plead with you, don't overthink it. Don't spend a lot of time discussing it. It's just a simple story. Go enjoy it. And I kind of just have to live with that irony of I'm sorry for the 5 hours of podcasts I spend a week talking about Star Wars. Alec Guinness, absolute god of Star Wars, So I am in such our life activities, Ken, are in such direct opposition with something that one of the key actors of the original trilogy explicitly said in an interview. That always resets me of, I do care what the actors think. I'm always happier if they're happy. But if we're talking about just an opinion of, is it a good movie or a bad movie, that it's just a bonus.
That is, I love that term. I love that term that you're using, bonus. It is we got the cake and now a side of French fries. Or a Quiznos sub and a Subway sub, based on our opening conversation there. In the case, specifically what you said of when people saying, oh, Daisy hated it too. Here's some clips, some out of context clips from a press interview or a red carpet, CCC. And then this comes out and kind of counters that. I do take some joy in that, maybe even some glee. I can't not admit that. I have to admit that I was like, haha. Because again, the flip side, the Mark Hamill thing. Yes, you can find a lot of things where it seems like he is unhappy, and some where he directly says, "Oh, I had a philosophical difference with this," and then they don't show the part where he's like, "But I came around to it." I get it. That's how it works. So I take it as a bonus, and it's weird. I don't know if it's because we are so obsessed with behind the scenes stuff, not just in Star Wars. But this is for me. I'm a big music guy. You're a music guy. You love Guns N' Roses. You can stop at what the music did for you in your life and what you get out of the albums, but also be intrigued and interested in the stories. But, I never want to mix them together. The fact that some of my favorite Beatles songs had George and Paul screaming at each other or something like that. I got to separate that, but I fall for it too. I'm part of some things, fortunately, ForceCenter, we have a great time. You and I we go forward every week. We chat, we're friends. We miss Jennifer. She misses us. I've been a part of other shows that people love that I don't talk with the host off air until the light goes red. And that's just the way it works. And I don't want that to take away from anyone's joy, but I fall for it too. So I read this article and I get excited. Yay, Daisy likes the thing I like. I was watching something about Julian Glover, General Veers, but also Grand Maester Pycelle in Game of Thrones, and he was done with the show. He begged to be off. He was like, it just wasn't fun anymore. Cersei kept making fun of me, and I couldn't get back. I was just being beat down by Cersei, and I asked the producers to take me off the show.
Veers wanted off the show.
Veers wanted off the show, and they convinced him to stick around for one final season. And I got to tell you, I'm in the middle of a rewatch, and I'm like, that kind of bums me that Julian Glover lost interest in the show. It doesn't matter because he still did an amazing job because he's an amazing actor, to borrow Daisy's use of the word amazing. But I fall for it too. So anyways, this article had just a lot of those thoughts where I just almost have to remind myself, this doesn't prove anything. How I interact, like you said, with the movie or what I get out of the movie is for me the only thing that matters.
Right. And I think that we can, even if an actor is like, I wasn't sure about this choice, but I nailed it. I don't think there's anything wrong with us going like, wow, I get so much depth and meaning out of what you did in this performance. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And the flip side might be Daisy loves this, or thinks it's a perfect ending. Clearly gave her all, and I didn't like what they did with it. I don't think that her thoughts invalidate your experience watching it. The flip side of it too.
Right. Yeah. If it doesn't work for you, that's totally legitimate. And is, your opinion is your opinion. I think also for me, having the experience of having been a writer, a director, an actor, having worked with lots of actors, I think sometimes on social media, I can see this thing where because the actors are the public face of the character, that people feel like the actors are the 100% arbiter of the character, right? So if an actor says thumbs up or thumbs down, then that is the gavel has come down and the issue's decided. And I think it's just so much more complicated than that. I've worked with actors who really want to dive into every element of the character and really deeply understand it. I've worked with actors who have done like an amazing job in my play, but if I interviewed them afterwards, they couldn't tell me why their character mattered to the plot. They just nailed the individual moment. They understood what they needed to, and they nailed that moment. Actors work differently, and I think that there are actors who want to own everything about the character and understand it on every level, and the other characters who want to like do what the script asks, do what the director says, and then they move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's different, and that's there's this weird sometimes. I mean, I get it. I am. You put a rock and roll documentary in front of me, whether I love the band or not, I'm there for it. Like, there's one coming out about the Bee Gees. I wouldn't describe myself as a Bee Gees fan. I can't wait to watch it because I want to know every corner. Chris Taylor's book, How Star Wars Conquered the Galaxy, universe. I love it. I want a sequel, but it's like they bleed over too much, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of what this is reminding me of. You listening to you talk and your experience there, Joseph, it's like reminds me, like, let's not forget Harrison Ford was kind of like, all right, let's get this one out of the way. I fight Ewoks. What are Ewoks? All right, let's go.
Right. I mean, and also speaking of actors who felt like they would never want to ever touch Star Wars again, absolutely coming around to like, I'm gonna go see Solo twice. Yeah. So, anyways, just some deep thoughts out of a headline. No right or wrong answer, which is kind of why I want to discuss it. Just what we take from it. And I always say beware of agendas, but sometimes that is me looking in the mirror and reminding me, am I always looking for, things that are in line with my joy of Star Wars? And of course you are. That's just the way it is. Just be careful of it there. But at the end of the day, Joseph, I think we're happy that Daisy Ridley is happy with Rey. Absolutely. I think she is a great actor, and I hope that she just has the exact career that she wants and that we get to keep seeing her in all sorts of different roles.
Absolutely. And now we've got some surprise DLC content. Are you ready for this, Star Wars Squadrons fans? That's right. You asked for it. You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest B-Wing in the world. B-Wing and the TIE Defender. Apologies to KISS fans. Yes, so the folks behind Star Wars Squadrons had said, hey, the game is out and the game is what it is. Enjoy it. And people put their hands in the air and said, where are the B-Wings? We want B-Wings. And while we're at it, TIE Defenders. So you get that. This December, you can fly the B-Wing or you can fly the TIE Defender. And then also you get custom matches coming in December. And then 4 ship components at a new multiplayer map, Fostar Haven, coming out right now, end of this month. So I know you and I enjoyed Squadrons, and we haven't really picked it up since. At least I haven't, not for any bad reasons, just time, and completed the story, loved the characters. Not good at flying, so not the best experience for me. But I do love the game. So your reaction to this news, Joseph, then I want to discuss the B-Wing itself.
I am happy for the people who cried out in one unified voice, please, please give us a B-Wing. Ooh, a TIE Defender too? Cool. Yeah, this is great. I think this is, again, a thing where it's nice when everything works. People made a game that a bunch of people love. It justified them adding more when they thought they weren't going to originally add more, which is great. I was not naturally good at this game when I started playing it. I haven't finished the game, which is a combination of just being really busy and trying to make time for all of the things. And that also, for me, because I'm not great at flying, it means getting past that. Like, some people seem to be able to just blast past it. Like, this game's intuitive, so they immediately get to the joy of flying. And every time they're like, here's your mission, here's why it matters, I'm like so pumped, and then like, yeah, let's go do it, and then I just run into something. So I have to work past that to get to the joy. So I will finish it, but I have not finished it yet. Yeah. So this is one of those things where I get to be super happy for the people who are masters at this game and are just counting the seconds until they can download the B-Wing and the TIE Defender patch.
Yeah, I would go for those briefings and then crash or fail, and then I was really disappointed that I had to lower the skill level to like the rookie pilot level. Like, I didn't want to do that, and then when I finally slumped my shoulders and said, I can't complete this Y-wing bombing run unless I do this, it was a bad day around the house. It felt real sad. I did want to. This got me thinking about the B-Wing. I love the Y-Wing. Barfed that information up far too many times, but there comes the old B-Wing, the Blade Wing, shows up in Return of the Jedi. It's got a great lore to it. Got a little bit more now in canon and Rebels. So what was your reaction to the B-Wing growing up, Joseph? And then where your thoughts are about the B-Wing now?
Yeah, I loved the B-Wing growing up. This is such a great question because it really made me go back in time and really think about how I thought about things. One of the things I loved about Star Wars is, and I've said this before, if you just Google what a lot of things visually looked like in the 1980s on television, it was just a lot of beige. It was a whole world of beige. In what I loved about Star Wars, it was so weird and colorful and different, and it really wasn't a galaxy far, far away. So when I saw the A-Wing and the B-Wing, I was like, new ships. And I was like, the A-Wing, that's, it's cool, but it's not that different. The B-Wing's bonkers. What is this? How does this even fly? So I loved it because it was weird. And I've since come around and I love the A-Wing because I think that that aesthetic in Star Wars of the really sleek and the really minimal has a great place in Star Wars too. And I've come to really like the A-Wing, and it's often what I will choose in a flying game that I'm halfway decent at. But I really liked the B-Wing when I was a kid because it was just weird.
Yeah, it was mesmerizing in a way, the way it would move and rotate around. And then, the old lock S foils in attack position, one of my favorite phrases in Star Wars. And just like, just the wings go out, but I don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm like you. I didn't fully, I couldn't explain it. So therefore I loved it. I had one of those, the actual models, not Lego sets, but like back in the day, like actual click together, maybe even glue together, models of the B-Wing, and I put it together, and I still didn't. I would study how the ship worked, and I would just flip it around the cockpit. Here I am, 7, 8 years old. It turns like this. Wow, do you get dizzy? Like all that kind of stuff just would always beat my head about it. So even though I love the Y-wing, the workhorse of the Rebel fleet, the B-wing was its exotic cousin that I try to figure out. Yeah.
Did you like the A-wing when you were a kid?
I did like the A-wing. I still love the A-wing. It is. Yeah. It's so funny because the X-wing, I love the X-wing. The X-wing design is amazing. It's just so simple and classic, and I joke and sometimes call it the quarterback of the Rebel fleet, meaning it's popular and all the cheerleaders love it and everyone roots for it and the town comes out to root for it, and there's the clunky old Y-wing in the corner, and I identify more with the Y-wing because of that. But I don't ever want to discount the beauty that is the X-wing. But there's something just simple and direct about the A-wing, and I love that it's a lighter option, a little more dangerous. You might get hit and blow up faster, but you're going to be fast and move around. So I do like playing it too. I think I control that one the best in the flying games too.
Yeah, I think it lends itself to being a little bit more brash, right? Of just wanting to zip around fast.
Yes. It's like maybe it's because I drove a Plymouth Colt for years, which was not fast, but was tiny like that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think in the X-wing, in the TIE fighters, I think are like, they are so classic, but they're kind of nothing quite looked at like them. I think a lot of things got designed after the fact to look a little bit more like an X-wing. But like that, for me, that was always the bar of like a new ship's got to be at least as weird as an X-wing.
Oh yeah, and the classic Battlestar Galactica ones. We always make the jokes. George definitely thought they looked like X-wings, or the whole show looked like a Star Wars show. But no, the X-wing, you're right. The TIE fighter is just so unique. Maybe at times I take it for granted. I do love a good TIE interceptor though, but the TIE Defender, I'm okay with the TIE Defender. I'm glad it's shown up. I like the use of it in Rebels. But I always felt this is I don't know. I always felt like sometimes the outside of the films, some of the versions of the TIE fighters just got a little crazy for me. This one's got 9 wings.
Yeah, I think I like TIE Defender because of the narrative weight of it. The aesthetic is one thing, but I love that idea. Like it was this or the Death Star, and I'm curious to see if that. I'm not clear exactly on if these ships are just for like multiplayer modes or if they're going to be worked into story or exactly how they fit in. But I like the TIE Defender because it's got some meat on its bones with all those wings and with the story behind it.
I'm right there with you. And you know what? That is a very ForceCenter answer from both of us, right? We like this ship because of the themes and narrative behind it. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. Otherwise, it's just a fun, wonky, wacky looking ship, but I like the meaning behind it in modern canon. So there you go, Squadrons fans. Get ready to play the B-Wing or the TIE Defender. Final news story of the day. We always like to check on Mando Mondays. Monday. Not a whole lot. Some cool, they always release the concept art. You can check that. They got Baby Yoda and Space Macaroons. You can get that there too. But Mando Mondays itself with the merch, we finally got, you can get your hands on The Mandalorian, the Ultimate Visual Guide. Pablo Hidalgo, the author on this one, as usual. Good, nice, simple cover. I like this. It's just Mando and all his Mudhorn Beskar glory on the cover there. Look, no secret, you can do other versions. That's what these Ultimate Visual Guides end up being, version 1, 2, 3, or more. This is clearly just going to be season 1, unless they delayed it a little bit, which they did for some of the publishing, that they want to add some season 2 stuff in. I'm not expecting that, but are you ready for 4 or 5 versions of this book, Joseph? Are you going to wait, or are you going to dive in now?
Yeah, is this one actually called the Ultimate Visual Guide or just the first visual guide?
It is the Ultimate Visual Guide, but so is I'm looking at it right now. So are the 2 Star Wars Ultimate Visual Guides I have.
Yeah, sometime they got to at least call one penultimate. This is the penultimate. This is the second to last visual guide. No, I'm very happy for it. It's going to be really interesting to see. The books are always just pretty. They're always aesthetically nice to see and all that. But I think what I'm most intrigued by is Pablo Hidalgo getting in there and explaining some things. That's what people expect of the visual guide. I think it's what Pablo Hidalgo likes to do. I see that cover and it should just be called "This is the guide to how tracking fobs work," because I guarantee you that Pablo Hidalgo is going to have some fun, space opera version of science of how the tracking fobs work. And I think there's this fun tension there that The Mandalorian as a show is, I think, still much more interested in that tip of the iceberg storytelling. It's much more in the spirit of TIE fighters make noise in space because it's cool. Don't worry about the science. And the nature of the visual guide is to get into a little bit of the how and the whys and the fun, weird details. So that's going to be fun to have those kind of sitting side by side.
Yeah, definitely going to add that. Love those. And yeah, Pablo, he exceeds in this area because I imagine him sitting in his office having a lot of fun just creating these stories. So we'll see there. Also released today, we got a Disney Emoji Blitz. If you want all your favorite heroes, Moff Gideon, the Child, Mando, and a Death Trooper, apparently, in Cara Dune, in emoji form, you got that. There is a new 5G Google Pixel Google Play phone. That's out of my pocketbook wrench. And then this one here, we got Grief Karga and the Child are joining Hasbro's main line of 3 3/4 vintage figures. Joseph, what do you think about this? This is your area of interest.
Yeah, this is thrilling. I love that they're kind of doling out the action figures so slowly. I need to get a little bit more on top of it because I see them in the morning, and Hasbro Pulse is going to have the pre-order, and like by the time I have time to Google it, the pre-order is long done. So then I'm like, I hope I can find this Vintage Grief, which is just a fun thing to say out loud. Vintage Grief is a must own. I love his new outfit. I love the character. I really want that one. Yeah, and I really want the Child. I think this is going to be fun too as the years go on, and if the popularity of Mandalorian stays strong, they're going to have so many variations of Mando with his armor to sell, and they're going to have so many variations of which Pram, because the Child's going through them really fast.
Yeah, Pram 1, Pram 2.1. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, good looking figure, good sculpt, good the close up detail on it, the paint chipped off. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a Pram that's seen some action. So yeah, I'm thrilled for both of these, and if I can get my grubby hands on them, I will.
Oh yeah, you will. A couple items left here. We got Igloo has released some comic Playmate Pals. This is basically, take a little take a picnic lunch in a Mando cooler here. We got comic frames, and then the one that's got child art says snack and protect. I think our listener Robbie Smith's probably going to want this one here. It is, but here's the thing: it's got the child on the side. It's the snack one, and it's got a frog half down his throat with the words "nom nom nom" on it. And can you be surprised when he goes around the galaxy eating eggs and space macaroons?
Look, the Child has a deep hunger, and it is a part of the show, both on every level. It is every level from whimsy to true depth of theme of how do we all feel about this, but it's unignorable. The Child eats.
The Child eats. The final thing is one up my alley here. I love my Star Wars Lego sets, and we got the new Trouble on Tatooine set, 276 pieces. We got Mando, the Child, and a Tusken Raider. We got the speeder. We got a little hut with a little campfire, and we got the scorpion arrows that they use to take down the Krat dragon. There, I really like that. That looks real detailed. So this will definitely find its way to my shelf and probably my brick building show over on Twitch. There's a cheap plug very soon, because who doesn't love building campfires? And look at that little child Lego set. That's a little
cool. I would happily trade that Scorpion, which is really, really cool, that their weapon, for Cobb Vanth, so I could have a full campfire there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think maybe they'll release a complimentary set called Protecting the School or something like that, or Drinks with a Weak Way, and we'll get that set. I love that. So that is this week's Mando Monday merch dump. Been kind of fun as they doled us all out slowly with the season. It's like an added bonus. Like you get the episode on Thursday night into Friday. We do a review, and on Monday you get all the merch like you were going to a concert, and it's out in the parking lot. Buy your shirt here. Do it now. So that is a look at Star Wars news. We are going to get on to our questions after a quick break. But before we do, we want to do our ForceCenter Recommends, an audiobook we think you should try out on us. And Joseph, this one is kind of homework for the upcoming episode.
Yeah, we are recommending From a Certain Point of View, The Empire Strikes Back, because we are going to be discussing that the next 2 weeks. We're breaking up. There's so many stories, 40 stories for 40 years. So we're discussing the first 20 stories this week and the last 20 stories next week. So we recommend you check it out.
Absolutely. Download your free audiobook today. Go to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audio book. All right, quick break. We'll reset on the other side. Your questions here on ForceCenter.